It's time for another power-packed episode of Headspace with Dr. Mike. Each week, Dr. Mike is committed to addressing real life, sometimes polarizing and controversial issues, while offering practical and informed insight. Listen in as we discuss hot topics that matter to us and the communities we live in.
What's up, Headspacers?
What's
How's
up?
doing? Oh man, it's so good to see you. All the Headspacers are out there. What's up, Christy?
I'm good. I am chilling on this good Saturday morning.
It is
Just doing my regular routine, getting in the groove.
Getting in the groove. You know what? It is a good Saturday morning here for those of you who are tuning in with our live broadcast on Saturday mornings. We do this every Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern time. I don't even want to get into what time zone.
Don't do it. Let them figure it out from the Eastern Standard Time, okay?
What kind of look, Eastern time, whatever, daylight savings time, standard time, whatever. It is the time zone. We're in the Eastern time zone. And Christy is in the virtual studio with me. For those that are tuning in on our podcast, that broadcast starting every Sunday, we put the newest episode out there. Thank you. We know that you could be tuning in to other podcasts, but we thank you that you added us to your list. And definitely want to give a shout out to the mothership, Elevation Global Media Group. Thank y'all so much for all of your continued support. We love you. And we count it a privilege to be a part of the Elevation family. Christy.
Yes, sir.
It has been a week. Is it
every week? But every week is a week, isn't it?
Christy, and I don't know, is that because we're getting older? What is that? I felt like this last week was the longest year ever. Like
I do think it's because we're getting older. I think when, as you get older, you're just more aware of things, and then you obviously have more responsibilities and all that. Mm-hmm. So the weeks, they get longer, but shorter at the same time.
Yes. Especially when it gets to the weekend.
They go by like that.
Man. But you know what? I thank the Lord because it could be another way.
Amen.
I mean, I could be busy just laying horizontally and not vertically, being vertical or whatever they say it is. Yep. Kevin said it's a beautiful day here in Colorado. Don't know about you, but I feel like going for a roll this afternoon. You know what, Kevin? You go for a roll, brother. You go for a roll. We are in the middle of production season at my church here in Baltimore, Mount Pleasant Church and Ministries, and we opted to every Good Friday and Resurrection. We know it is Resurrection around here. Mm-hmm. And we opt every year for Good Friday. We actually have the service on Good Friday, that Friday. This is when Jesus was crucified. And we've done it over the last few years where we've actually had Jesus on the cross. He has the makeup depicting the scars. And then we have like 3 different preachers, excuse me, that we divide up the 7 last sayings on the cross and they preach on it, but then we have acting around it. Mm-hmm. And so when the COVID started, we didn't, obviously we did it virtually. And so this year, everything's opening up. By the way, that cough was just an allergy cough. It was not a COVID cough. Just want to make sure I'm clear. But we opted to, church is happening, but we said, you know what, let's go ahead and just record as much as we can. So we recorded a lot of the acting, a lot of the music. There's a couple of live elements. We're really excited. The Melanie Daniels is coming on Resurrection Sunday morning to lead us in worship and to actually be a part of our festivities. So we're doing some elements of the live, but we're also doing a lot of it pre-recorded. And today is the day when we crucify Jesus. Yes, and it always just wears me out. It just wears me out. The whole when we get closer to Easter, we'll probably talk more about it, but it just wears me out. Like when you just think of what he went through so that we could have eternal life, that we could just have life that we were supposed to have with God,
Amen.
And then the other piece about it that as we were in the scripting of it, at the end of the day, he wasn't so bent out of shape about the physical pain. It was that separation from God that wore him down.
Yeah.
So it just wears me out though, because when I look at that, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this is what he did. And even though, the guy that's playing Jesus, he can just rip those things off, the prosthetics off, and take a shower, and he's done bleeding, right? But it just, it gets me.
Puts it in perspective.
It puts it in perspective. So what's happening in the world? Give us some head notes.
Yeah, I have a few things, and I know you have a few things on your list that we're going to chat about. Should we start with Ketanji? I think we should just start with her.
We got to talk about Angie Ketanji.
Yes,
Ketanji.
we have to.
I mean, you and I both, we grew up in an environment where, I mean, we were the majority, right? But we also grew up in an environment where we recognized that wasn't the case in the world, right? So we know it. But both of us, we were in the top 5 to 10% of our high school class. Like, we were in honors and AP classes. And so we know what Black excellence looks like. And if there is anyone that wants to contest her being eligible and being qualified for that job, dare I say, given the bar that has been set, she actually is overqualified. I'm just going to say it. Like, I mean, when you look at the standard that's been set up, everybody that's sitting on that bench, she's excelled at all. And I think the part that just really drives me nuts is, in order for her to at least get any type of respect, that's what it had to look like for her.
Oh, yeah.
She couldn't have walked in there with the credentials of Amy Cohen Barrett or Neil Gorsuch or Clarence Thomas and make it through.
No. I even beyond her academic qualifications, to me, it was her demeanor.
Yes.
The peace that surpasses all understanding that was upon that sister. I'm not cut out for that position, because the way they would come in for her, the temperament that she displayed during that. I was just like, I mean, that's what I think her whole sisterhood and brotherhood were just ready to fight, fight them all for her, because she just had such peace. I mean, when you're a part of the culture, certain pauses, certain looks, physical, movements, when we sit back for a second and lean in, we know what all that means.
We were able to, we all know the script of her internal monologue. We know exactly what was going through. We know the PG version and we know the rated R version of what was going through her head. We know it.
Yes. And I honestly, if I'm being transparent, I did watch, some of the proceedings, but I had to turn it off. I had to turn it off because I just couldn't. The Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz were taking me to a place where I was not having peace. Therefore, because I'm always saying I had to protect my peace, right? And so to protect my peace, I had to go away because I was ready to take a drive.
And you know what? And I'm gonna say this, and I have a lot of evangelical white evangelical friends, some of which probably, if they're tuning in today, they're probably upset with this, and it is what it is. I'm going to be honest with you. I was disappointed in those two particularly. Here's why. They're supposed to be the beacon and the benchmark for that whole movement, and they acted like kids. Like, first of all, Ted Cruz was out of pocket. Ted Cruz was just out of pocket. Like, there was nothing. There was just out of pocket. Like, and I get that there were, I get everybody, because the argument that they want to use was they acted like this with Amy Coney Barrett. Well, they acted like, I get what you're saying, but you can't compare apples to oranges for a number of reasons. One, when Neil Gorsuch came through, it was after they sat on President Obama's pick for over a year because they were saying elections have consequences. Then when Amy Coney Barrett was going through, they rushed it through. Like, they broke rules to make sure that she got to sit on the bench because they wanted to make sure she was there in time to rule on any type of contesting of Roe v. Wade and any type of contesting of the election. So they were being ridiculous. That's a fact. I mean, I think it's coming out now in the wash that was a fact. And so to say this woman is qualified, and the case that they rested on was on sentencing guidelines for child pornography, and I found out from a number of folk that I know in law that have said that her rating when it comes to those types of cases, or her ranking or whatever, is consistent with other federal judges.
I think it was like 77%.
Yeah, they were like, she didn't do anything different than anyone else on average did, because, and she said, look, she said, you can't just base it on just one little fact. There's other pressing things. And here's the other thing. What happened to grace? I don't know about y'all, but the Bible that I read about talks about grace. So how do you know that this, I think one of the cases they were talking about, and I'm not, y'all, my doctorate is not in law,
right?
So I'm not even going to try to claim that. But I think they talked about first it was an 18-year-old that clearly has issues, right? Clearly has issues. And one of the benchmark cases that they were using to try to prove their point was based off of her light sentences for this 18-year-old. Well, there were other factors that anyway, Auntie, we love you.
Yes. Very proud of you. She represented very well.
Cory Booker, man, sometimes he could be a little team too much for me. Him and Van Jones could they wear me out a little bit. But he was all right. I appreciated
the Black man being there, standing up for the Black woman. It was beautiful to see. I appreciated that.
Yes.
So while we're on the Supreme Court kick, do you want to talk about Clarence Thomas's wife?
You talk about Jenny?
Is it Jenny?
Yeah, her name is Virginia Thomas. Yeah.
She was a insurrectionist,
Yeah, she was a cheerleader for it.
She had the pom-poms and everything.
They got the text messages now talking about how she was telling Mark Meadows, y'all need to go for it. And
yes, go forth.
How is that? Okay, first of all, let's be clear, listeners. We don't wish any ill will on anyone. No. I'm glad to hear that Judge Thomas is recovering at home from his mysterious infection, right? Absolutely. So I'm praising God that that's happening for him, because I don't wish that on anybody. So to that end, though, how is that not a conflict of interest?
You mean to tell me that you didn't know your wife was doing this, and if you didn't know, your wife doesn't know well enough the position that you hold to not be mixed into? You know what? It's another layer or another level of rules, separate rules for people. I am convinced of it. If they had been anybody else,
right?
That.
It don't make sense to me. Like what? How
do you think this is not going to be found out? Like the audacity. The audacity.
I don't know, Christy. I'm amazed. I am kind of just amazed. I mean, but they got her. She wanted to turn them votes around, and he and them making decisions that are supposed, he wanted to hear the cases about overturning some of the elections, and I don't know.
Recuse thyself. Have several seats.
I don't know. It's some funny stuff. But that's the world that we living in right now. I guess I just don't know. It's I told you this last week was the longest year ever.
It was. And we're
on a brighter note, though. Now I know you aren't really into the whole March Madness thing. Like you don't really get into it like that. But can we talk about the Peacocks?
Yeah, I didn't know about the Peacocks. That's been like the big story out of these games thus far. But yeah, the Peacocks. Where are they from again?
New Jersey. New Jersey.
Yeah. So I hear
they're every bit of Jersey. Like it's so funny. Like it's just they were celebrating and stuff. I was like, but that's Jersey though. That's how the people from Jersey act. Like
come through Peacocks.
Well, and here's the best part about it. It was National Peacock Day yesterday.
Was it?
Yep.
See, it's a sign.
The Peacocks won on National Peacock Day. Ain't that something?
Beautiful.
The first 15th seed to make it to the Elite Eight. Good for them.
Awesome. Congratulations to them.
It always makes me feel good to see people's dreams and desires and visions of what they could have, just to see it fulfilled, even if they don't make it past the Elite Eight. Although I don't know. I mean, they taking names along the way, so I don't know. It may be fascinating. I mean, wouldn't that be something if they make it at least to the Final Four? Yes, Kevin, my bracket's been busted. because not they won, but then you had number 1 seeds busting, Gonzaga included. I had Gonzaga winning, and they're done. Arizona's done. Yeah, it's a mess. It's a whole mess. But you know what? That's why it's called March Madness. Let's go ahead and take a break, Crystal. '20 gave birth to a lot of endeavors. Here in 2021, everyone has had to get in touch with their inner producer. Our man Garrett Brace is one of those guys you need on your team. We at Headspace with Dr. Mike are clients of his, as he ensures all of our audio files are crisp, clean, and cool. If you have any audio, video, and even lighting needs, hit him up at G Walt Services on Instagram. Remember, G Walt Services, servicing all your audio, video, and lighting needs. So we were in a while ago, and Shavella and Mike always talk to me about how I always use them as examples, and I'm going to use them as an example today. So Mike and Shavella, beware. We were packing for a trip, and I don't remember where we were going, but we were packing for a trip, and I was doing 500,000 things, and in the midst of packing, I was looking for my socks, and I had a whole bunch of socks. Shavella did a real good job of making sure that all our stuff was washed and folded and put away. And I knew I had my socks. I had grabbed them, and I was like, I couldn't find them. And my first inference was, you know what? I know what I know about my socks, and I was blaming everybody in the house. I was blaming everybody. I was like, "You moved my socks. Where'd you move my socks to?" Shavella's looking like, I don't know what to tell you. Last I did, they would put it here. Even Mike was like, "Daddy, I didn't." He was just there, but I just was blaming everybody because I knew in my heart, I believed in my spirit, I believed in my soul, I believed that I did not do anything to move them socks. Well. About 30 minutes after me fussing, because, I'm a fire sign, so I tend to fuss a bit. Fussing. I go into the bedroom, and I just happen to look at the love seat in our bedroom, and guess what's on the love seat? The socks I was missing. And as soon as I saw them, I realized what had happened. What had happened was, in the process of packing, I had picked them up, put them in the love seat because I wanted to make sure I had them ready to go. So when it was time to put them, because I usually use my socks and I usually stuff them into shoes and different parts of when I'm packing, I wanted to have them available so that I could do it. But in that whole amount of time, I was ready to blame everybody else for something that I had done. So the title of my heads up today is Who Moved My Socks? Who moved my socks? And many of us, you may be laughing and stuff, but a lot of us find ourselves in the situations that we find ourselves now, be it career-wise, financially-wise, relationship-wise, socially-wise. We find ourselves in situations, and what tends to be a natural way about going about things is we tend to want to blame other people for why we're in the situation that we're in. Now, think about what I just said. We're blaming other people for the situation that we're in. I'm going to say that one more time. We're blaming other people for the situation that we're in. And that doesn't even sound right, does it? But we do it all the time. If you had loved me just a little bit more, I may not have blank. If you had just let me do what I wanted to do when I was a kid, I wouldn't have been blank. If you had just, and we can go through a laundry list of things that had someone else not done, we would have been blank. Why is it that we like to put so much power as it pertains to us and our personal being? We like to put it on other people. We like to relinquish control, so to speak. Now, when I talk about relinquishing control, there is a relinquished control that I do believe that we need to do, is that's to yield ourselves to the moving of God. And you all know I'm unapologetically a believer who, believes in the power of God and the manifestations of his purpose in our life and that sort of thing. So that's not what I'm talking about. What I am talking about is the fact that God has given each and every one of us a free will, and he's given us an opportunity to make decisions for ourselves. Nothing that happens, God has not signed off on, right? But he allows things to happen. And so there are things that we didn't do. And so my question is, when it comes to who moved my socks, just like that situation where I was at, you know what? At some point, we have to start coming into grips with the fact that, you know what? I'm where I am, or I'm headed where I'm going to be. I have to play a big part in making that happen. So I want to give you a couple things. When you think about the word moved, right? Who moved my socks? And you can replace socks with anything else in your life. Who moved it? The first thing you have to do is develop a mindset. What is it? It's a growth mindset. Many of us are in what we call a fixed mindset about certain things. For instance, there are certain things that I like a certain way. That's a fixed mindset. If you make it differently, let me tell you something. My wife, is a great cook, an awesome cook. And, for the most part, she makes things awesome for me, for what I like. But there are some things that she makes that just doesn't hit it for me because I like it a certain way. There's no one in the world that can make cream of wheat as good as my mommy can. Nobody. My dad, his cream of wheat was never hit the spot. I even told Shavella, I can't even make cream of wheat good to make it taste like how my mama makes it. And I told Shavella early in our marriage, I said, I'm just gonna let you know, I don't just eat anybody's cream of wheat. And she came over it. So the funny thing about it is, though, little Mike, he won't eat anybody else's oatmeal except for hers. I tried to make oatmeal for him, and he was like, yeah, this ain't it. So I wonder if that's even a boy thing. But nonetheless, I have a fixed mindset when it comes to cream of wheat. The only type of cream of wheat I like is what my mom made, not anybody else. Even though you could be the best cream of wheat maker in the world, fixed mindset says, you know what? I like it this way. This is where I'm at. Growth mindset says, well, you know what? Even though they don't necessarily make it the way my mom made it, they still make it well. And you know what? Maybe I just need to adjust my taste buds and start coming to grips with the fact that this can be good too. It's just not the way my mom made it. That's a growth mindset. A growth mindset says, you know what? I'm willing to move beyond where I'm at. I'm willing to move beyond my comfort zone and move into the next thing. And so as you may find yourself in a situation where your socks are being moved and you're wondering, why is it that you're not moving anywhere? It starts with your mindset. What kind of mindset do you have going into it? Do you feel as if you've learned everything you could possibly learn about anything in the world? Or do you feel like there's always something that you can learn and you can grow into? Now, when you think about who moved, you got the mindset figured out, then you got to own it. You have to own the fact that, you know what, you're in the situation that you're in because you're in the situation that you're in. It is, yes, there may have been other factors that may have contributed, but at the end of the day, you're in a situation where you can actually make up in your mind, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. Now, does it mean it's going to be easy? No, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Let me tell you something. Anything that's worth having, you need to do some work for it. I mean, seriously, I think we live in this culture that says that, you know what, I want to get it when I want to get it, how I want to get it. And we live in this Burger King, have it your way, right away at Burger King now. But you know what, actually, most things that are sustainable, that really actually have some meat to them, it takes time and it takes work. You want to have a good business and you're looking at all these people on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok that are doing these things, it took work. And it didn't look as pretty as it looks now. But guess what? You got to own every decision that you make and understand that there are consequences, good and bad, that contribute to where you're at. All right, here it is. The V is volunteer. You have to volunteer for the things that get you excited. You have to put yourself in the posture of getting those things. If there's some experience that you need to, well, guess what? You're not always going to get paid to do it. And matter of fact, are you really good enough to get paid to do it? There's some times where you want to get paid to do something and you're not really payable. Like, you're not really good at it. Like, you're all right, but it's a hobby for you right now. And that's okay, because that's how you develop in your skills. But then one day the opportunity will come when you start getting paid. I ever think back to the fact that I can honestly say that I am a professional speaker. And I am grateful for those speeches that I gave where I just literally showed up. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate it. I just showed up and I walked out the door after I was done and didn't have a penny more because of the speech. I think about that a lot. And now I think about the fact that I can command $10,000 for an audience to listen to me for 45 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes. Why? It took work. It took time. But I had to volunteer early on to be able to do those things. And by the way, if you want to book me to speak, it doesn't always cost $10,000. Just so you know. But the key is you got to volunteer for those things, right? You can't just know that you're not going to get paid for everything that you may want to do. You got to put the work in. Here's the E. The E is you got to evolve. Recognize that evolution has to happen. The cell phones that we have, the cars that we have, they are outdated within a couple of years. Why? Because technology has changed, needs have changed, usage has changed, right? You have to get updates all the time. Our phones, our computers. I know you ever left your computer on and then all of a sudden you come back to use it the next day and it's gonna reboot because it did some updates overnight, right? And it did some critical functions needed to be fixed and some things needed to happen. Why? So it could be relevant for where it's at now. Stop thinking that these things that you learned back in the day, just because you learned them back in the day, are impactful now. Yeah, some of the principles may be the same, but they have to be applied differently. We're in a different world. So you got to evolve into those things. You don't have to necessarily change who you are inside, but you got to look a little different. You got to come to meet the needs. You listen, let me tell you something. The clothes of the 70s look great, and while they do come back stylistically, they are slightly different now, right? Now, go try to wear them clothes that you were wearing in the 70s and wear it now and see how far they get you. Now, women, y'all, it's a little easier for y'all because y'all can kind of recycle clothes. I get it. Guys, we can't do that. We can't do that. Matter of fact, I don't even think the fabric is strong enough for it to withstand all that. If you can even fit in it. But here's the last one. When we talk about who moved, right? Mindset, own, volunteer, evolve. Last but not least, D is decide. You got to make the decision. This is what I want to do. You make the decision. They're not paying you enough? Okay. If they're not paying you enough, well, you got two choices. You can stay and just not make as much as you would like to make, or you can move on to the next thing, if there is a next thing. That's not their fault. That's yours, because you decided to stay there. But if you do decide that you're going to stay there, then now at that point, you forfeited the right to complain and to hold back, because now you still have to play 100%, because playing 100% speaks to your character, speaks to your ethics, speaks to your integrity. If you need to move on to the next thing, move on. I get it. But if you decide that you're going to stay in that situation, you got to put the work in as if it is the most ideal situation for you. Even if it's not, you got to put the work in. And that's my heads up.
Follow the Headspace with Dr. Mike show on all social media platforms at Headspace DM. We want to keep you up to date on all of our hot topics and keep the dialogue going even after the show. We also value what's important to you and your community. DM your show ideas to us on Instagram or Facebook. The next time you log on, you may hear Dr. Mike discussing the very topic or issue close to your heart.
So it's a great time of year, Christy. My wifey loves the Oscars. The Oscars, and they are this weekend. Do you do anything for the Oscars? Do you watch them? Do you follow them?
I watch them here and there. It just depends on what movies have been released the year before that I'm interested to see if they get any kind of recognition for. Mm-hmm. I'm not pumped about them. I remember you saying that Shavela was like, look, this is my thing. When we get together, you need to understand that this is my thing. I want to watch it, and it's a big thing for her. But it's not as big of a deal for me. But I might tune in. I may. We'll see.
Yeah, it tends to be long. It tends to be long, especially when they get into the middle, when they talk about the technical aspects of it. And I get it, because I mean, you can't really have those movies without those technical aspects. But I just want to see what the top movie is. I really do want to see. I'm hoping that Will Smith gets the top actor. Like, I really do. He's so far, it seems as if all roads are leading to it, but we all know that it can change, and it just depends on what the Academy is thinking. Mm-hmm. But I think it would be awesome for him to get it. I think his performance in King Richard was phenomenal. I always am amazed when they're able to take on the personalities of who they're acting.
It's amazing. I mean, it shows they truly, with him, he's done it over and over again. Him and Jamie Foxx, really get into it. They just go all in. I mean, I do believe they just morph into the person.
Yes.
And they truly study the person and their traits, their speech patterns, their just everything about them. And they completely encompass the role. So
Yes.
I'm really super excited for the potential of him getting that. Just think about where Will Smith started,
Right.
you know, and
In West Philadelphia, most
yeah,
of the days.
exactly,
On the
exactly.
playground is where I spent most of my days.
Hmm.
Did he do Summertime before that or after that?
Before, I believe it was before, because
Summer,
remember we all knew Will Smith for being a rapper.
before he became, yep, before he
Yeah,
became
before he became, Will Smith
Fresh
from
Prince.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But speaking of the Oscars, though, did you hear about this? Did you hear about what Halle Berry was saying?
No, what was she saying?
So Halle Berry, I guess she was being interviewed, and she just talked about how heartbroken she is that she is still the only Black woman to have won
Hmm.
Best Actress, and she just talked about how she thought that her winning would be just the beginning of all these Black women getting recognition for their skill in acting, and she's just very disappointed, and as she said, heartbroken by the fact that we haven't. That was 2002.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember that one even being controversial because
Hmm. The
people weren't
role,
sure that that was that movie that should have gotten her the Oscar.
yeah,
I remember that.
Monsters Ball, right?
Monsters Ball, yep, because it was
Hmm.
the same year that Denzel won it for Training Day.
Right.
They both won it the same year.
Yep.
You know what, Christy, and this is I'm glad you brought that up because I think we've been hearing we've been hearing undertones of this for a while. And as a Black man, um, I have to say that I have appreciated how you all have championed around us and really tried to put us, recognizing that there is, I'm going to say it, a spiritual attack against the Black man, right? And there was a reason why Satan really went out of his way to get rid of to try to get rid of the Black man, in my opinion.
Hmm.
But there is something for the vitriol against the Black woman.
Oh yeah.
I just I feel like and you read the signs and somebody could say, well, they're not movies that are staring enough. And I'm like, well, why? Why is that? Like, why is it that Black women aren't being cast in those pivotal roles? Because you can't tell me that when a movie is getting made, you can't tell me that they're not thinking in their mind, we're shooting for the Oscar for this. You can't tell me that they aren't thinking that. Like
Sure.
I almost feel like some of the movies are already groomed to win awards, right?
Hmm.
And so why is it? And then I guess the argument is, well, people don't go out and watch Black women. Why is that? Why is it that the world seems to hate the Black woman? What is that about?
Oh, Mike, that's a loaded question. I
I
don't think
know.
we have enough time for that.
I know. I don't know. I guess that's a question that maybe we'll have to deal with it another day. But I even sat and watched the hearings, and I was just like, I watched Amy Cohen Barrett go through her thing, and they weren't that nasty to her. They weren't that
Well, the
nasty.
Black woman is considered so strong; she can handle it all, and
Yeah.
it's I mean, we can even link that to like healthcare and all of that. The fact that when a Black woman complains about something or is bringing attention to something regarding her health to her physician, that many
Hmm.
times it is dismissed
Yeah.
because they don't take it seriously,
Yeah.
because we're so strong. And yeah,
And I even remember when
double-edged sword.
somebody even talked about how I think the white supremacist guy, Clack or whatever his name is. I agree, Sharella, we're stronger than most men give us credit for. Sharella, I watched you go through different things, and I mean your resilience, just watching my mom go through what she has gone through. You don't have to convince me. I get it. Like I just get it. And I think I'm becoming more aware of it, and it breaks my heart. And I know that wasn't where we were going with this conversation about the Oscars, but I think that's a part of the conversation. I think that really does
Absolutely.
need to be a part of the conversation. That I mean, you're attacked on every different front. Like, for instance, I've walked through the airport and I've seen non-Black women walk through the airport dressed any old way, but yet y'all got attacked for wearing your bonnets. And I'm like, yeah, I prefer, like, on a personal level and on a selfish level, I prefer you not wear the bonnet, right? But at the same token, like, why can't you? Like, you want your hair to look nice when you get to your destination, just like anybody else wants their hair to look nice when they get to the destination. And at the end of the day, you're not interviewing for a job at the airport. You're literally just going to get on a plane. But yet it's like you're attacked even in that. Like, I don't know. It bothers me.
Well, think about how we feel, Mike.
I know. Well, my hats go off to you all. I mean,
it's okay.
I think
we're on our way, Mike. I'm not even worried about it.
Yeah, I know.
We're on our way.
And I don't want, and I think as a whole, we do have some misogynistic tendencies, even beyond the Black woman thing. So I want to make sure everybody understands. I just think that, fellas, we have to do better by our women in general. I think we have to do better by our women in general. I even think back to, I remember when Chevelle and I were getting married and we were going through premarital counseling, and Bishop, we always talk about wives submit to your husbands. We always talk about that, but there's another part of that verse.
Keep reading.
Husbands submit to your wives.
Read. Exactly.
What you say?
No, I was saying keep on reading.
Yeah, it says women. Well, look, now I'm good for that because my parents used to always hit me with children obey your parents in all things, for this is well pleasing unto the Lord. Right. And I'll be like, yeah, but the rest of it says, and fathers, do not provoke your sons to wrath. We like to take a scripture and just make the verse fit, but let's take the whole thing, and it does. It really clued me into the idea that it says we're supposed to submit to each other, and we submit to each other in the role that we play. We all play a role, but there is still a level of submission. And some people, they don't like the word submission; they call it respect. And I mean, I guess if you have to find a substitute for it, there is a level of respect for each other. But that submission piece is important. It is important. And
it's rooted in trust.
It's rooted in trust. Yeah, mm-hmm. I agree. Absolutely. I agree. Well, nonetheless, Hallie, I hope that we get ourselves in a situation where we can see more Black women win that top spot. Because I don't think Jennifer Hudson was even nominated this year for her role in Respect.
I have to admit, I have not seen it.
Really?
I have not seen it. I'm going to tell you why. So first of all, I think I should have been a movie critic in my former life. Like, that might have been my next thing. I am really critical, extremely critical when it comes to movies and even shows on television and all of that. And I have not seen it for myself, but I've heard like different people's opinions about it. Some people were raving about it. Others were like, wasn't all that great. So I'm going to reserve. I don't have an opinion because I haven't seen it. Jennifer Hudson, I am in awe of what she's done with her career. Yeah. I think she's a wonderful singer and all of that. Her acting's okay. I think she does an okay job. I don't think, yeah. Well, I'm going to reserve that. I haven't seen it.
Go see it. I'm curious. Did you see the one that they had on National Geographic? I did. You didn't see that one either?
No.
You need to watch those. They're really good. I learned a lot about Aretha Franklin from both of those because Aretha Franklin, and it kind of comes up in the movies, that she actually was just very private. Like, she did a good job of just keeping her business to herself, and she had a lot of things that she had to battle with. Kevin asked, didn't J. Hud get the Oscar for? No, she got it for supporting actress.
Supporting
actress, which does help her go towards the EGOT. Matter of fact, I think all she's missing is she got a Tony, I think, for Color Purple. Mm-hmm. She got the Grammy. Did she get a Grammy?
I don't know.
She got an Oscar.
Would it be interesting if that's the one she hasn't gotten?
Yeah, the Grammy of all of them. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I don't know, but no, she got it for supporting. She was a supporting actress in Dreamgirls. So, F it white.
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break. We are getting summons for a break. Let's do it.
Our world is filled with polarizing topics that land most people on one side or the other. The Headspace with Dr. Mike team isn't afraid to take them on. Monthly, we will invite people on both sides of some of the most controversial topics, from the serious to the silly, to debate their positions. We look forward to charged discussions that will inform and entertain. DM your head-to-head show ideas to us on Instagram or Facebook at Headspace DM.
Well, we're going to do some head-to-head, but Christy, you just reminded me of something. How do you get uninvited to the Grammys?
Your name has to be Kanye.
Oh my gosh, you know what? He stays on people's lips. I don't know. He is. I don't even know if I call him an enigma, but
He just pray for him.
That's what I'm gonna do.
That's all you can do.
And I'm gonna tell you that his gospel CD, the one he did a couple years ago, was bussin'. I loved it. Like I love the arrangements that he did with the songs. To this day, I still love what he did with Revelation 19:1. And A. Jeffrey LaValle, who actually wrote that song, it put it back on the map for him. I'm friends with him on Facebook, and he was just blown away at how it hit the Billboard, and he's getting awards now. I know his royalty, his residual is off the roof. So I'm sure he was blessed by Kanye. But he's so artistic and so talented. It just makes me sad to see.
Sometimes that creativity and that talent are fused with the issues.
Yeah.
I think one begets the other.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. Nonetheless, we're gonna be praying for you, Kanye. And
yes,
sorry absolutely. You don't get to go to the Grammys, but get it together so you can go next time.
Yeah.
It's head-to-head time. You know what? The world has been so just tight and just sad and dreary. Let's make a fun head-to-head. So I'm a corporate trainer, right? So that's kind of what I do for my day job. And so a lot of times when we start our training sessions, we do the little icebreakers, and we like to ask different questions and just get people's point of view. So why don't we do a few of those? Because I think that would be fun. So, and those of you who are tuning in with us live right now, go ahead and let us know what your answer is too, because we want to see. So if you had a choice, there's two superpowers that you could get. All right. The choice was you could have X-ray vision, or you could have teleportation. All right. X-ray vision or teleportation. Which one would you take?
Oh, that's easy. Teleportation.
Teleportation. Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I think I would go for that. Why would you go for teleportation?
The comical part about this, you wouldn't have to worry about gas prices anymore.
Listen.
Think about how much time you would save being able to teleport from one place to the next.
Yeah.
Time saver. You could almost be at one place at the same time. Two places at the same time. Yeah. If you're able to kind of manage it, man.
Yeah.
You could be super husband, super wife, super dad, super mom. Man, come on.
Yeah, I could go for that. Kevin said X-ray vision.
Oh, interesting.
X-ray vision. Okay.
David said teleportation.
He said teleportation for sure. I guess I would have to go for teleportation. I think teleportation would probably be the best one of the two. I'm with you. I have more time to get to. I have more time to just do what I want to do. I don't have to go through the hassle of whatever. Yeah. All right. Here's the next one. Would you rather travel back in time to meet your ancestors or to the future to meet your descendants? Travel back in time to meet your ancestors or move to the future to meet your descendants?
My gut said future.
You'd like to go to the future?
To meet my descendants.
Okay. All right.
It would, because you have who you are. You have a sense of yourself for the most part. And I think I would be interested in how much of me continued.
Yeah.
What are my great-great-grandchildren, doing that was inspired by me? Because that obviously was inspired by somebody before me. And so I think I would like to go forward as opposed to backward.
But what if you see something that like because of something that you did, it impacted the future? Like,
I mean, I hear you, but I think the same could be said if you go backward. I mean, you probably will see some things that you didn't necessarily you didn't know about,
true.
and that can have some
Yeah.
negative implications as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think either way.
I think I would go back in time. I would really like
Okay.
to just see what made this. What this is. My mom tells me all the time that and my grandmother used to say that my grandfather, Daddy Herman, was a great preacher. And so I would like to go back and
Mm.
hear him preach and stuff like that. Just I would like to see some of the just how far back into history we are a part of this country. Like what aspects of my relatives were slaves or what were they doing before this, and like I would like to see that. I would like to see what made all this. So let's see, we got Brenda Butler said she would like to go back to the past. David Johnson said go back to the past. They would like to go back to the past. Kevin said time travel. Well, it's all time travel, Kevin, so you got to specify, are we doing front or back? Which one we doing? All right, how about this one? Would you rather have invisibility or flight?
Mm.
Invisibility or flight?
I'm gonna have to go with my gut. Invisibility.
Be invisible? I'm with you on that.
Yeah, the invisibility just gives you an opportunity to just learn so much incognito, as I like to say.
Yep, 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 yep.
Um, and oh yeah, invisibility.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah,
would invisibility too. I don't know though. I think flight would just be dope.
I mean it would be.
I I guess I wonder if you could be invisible. If you could have a level of invisibility in flight. I don't know. I
You
want to
try
have
to
my
combine
cake
them.
and eat it too.
You try to combine them.
All right, all right, all right. This is fun. We got some more. Kevin said he would like to do flight. And he also said to answer the back one, he would rather go back in time. All right. Live without heat and AC or live without social media?
I'm gonna go with live without social media.
You know what? The fact that I had to give this some thought.
I know. I was ashamed of myself because I paused.
The fact that I had to give, I'm like very upset with myself that I even had to give this some thought. Like,
There was a time, Mike. There was a time when we did this before. This wasn't a thing.
what's that?
So we can live without social media.
We
It's
can live
hard to
without social
imagine
media.
right now, but we can do that. I don't like to be cold. Okay.
You ain't
I
never
do
lied.
not like to be cold.
You
So
never
I'm gonna
lied.
need the heat.
You ain't never lied. You ain't never lied. Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. Everybody's doing with social media. I think I'm just more upset with myself that it took me forever to it took
Mike, replay. There was a pause about at least 5-6 seconds. We were like,
I was upset that I had to think about that. Kevin said I
it's
tried to live
terrible.
without AC and couldn't do it. Oh no, you ain't never lied. Shoot. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm telling y'all, like, y'all take these little warnings seriously, and I'm not trying to make light of it, but like Russia is pissed. It ticked off. Can't say pissed. I just said it again. They're ticked, and so y'all understand that we're getting ready to hit into the summer months, and if they knock out the energy grid, we in trouble because ain't no AC, ain't no heat. Oh my gosh, like woo. Mm. Oh my gosh. What song or album could you listen to on repeat? So this is not quite a head to head,
Ooh.
but what song or album could you listen to on repeat? So while you're thinking, if I were going to go gospel, it would have to be Fred Hammond's songs, Pages of Life. I would do that. But if it was secular, it would be Stevie Wonder's the one songs of life, songs of life, or songs of the anyway, the one that the album that he has that has As on it. I remember in college I actually played that like for days. Those are mine.
Wow, Mike, that's really, really hard. When it for gospel, I would go with Yolanda Adams, her first album.
Okay.
This brings back so many memories, and I would have that on repeat. The one that has praise that name. Oh goodness, I can't think of the name. I mean, the name of the song or the album right now. But I see her in like she's like a Nubian princess queen.
Oh,
on that one.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, that one. So that album, and then
there is a name.
Yes,
that is so
that name
precious.
is called That Name.
A name so wonderful.
I want that song played at my funeral.
His name speaks love.
I love that song.
And unconditional.
Stop, Mike. Stop. We ain't going there. Secular.
Whew. My sister does that song. She does a
really.
Oh,
that song is powerful.
It is a powerful song.
Secular. I guess I go with the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
You know what? That was, believe it or not, that was actually on my list. That or the Fugees. I could listen to the Fugees all day. And you know what I think? I think for me, you're right. The album reminds you of a point in life.
Yes.
And like, so when I was thinking about the Fugees, I was remembering that was our senior year in high school. Ooh la la la. Like it was just like it was a vibe. It was a total vibe. Like it was. I remember that. That was actually a fun season in our life. Not trying to take all our ages away, but anyway, let's see. If you could choose any two famous people to have dinner with, who would they be? Any two famous people, who would they be to have dinner with?
Oh boy.
I'm just gonna say it.
Go ahead.
Ella already knows the answer to this. Barack and Michelle.
But you would choose them both.
Oh yeah, they're both coming.
Yeah, Barack was on my. I was thinking Barack. I was trying to think of the second person.
No, I'm gonna have both of them. That's I just want them at my table so we can just cut up.
That would be fun. That would be fun. Definitely Barack, and the second person. Oh, Mike. They have to be alive?
No, anybody. My mom said Jesus and Denzel.
Go ahead, Mama.
Combination.
I love that combination.
But you know what? That's that generation.
Jesus and Denzel. It's really Denzel.
Now, Jesus, he may have been knocked off, but Denzel was going to be at that table.
Listen, do you know it's not Denzel? It's Denzel.
Really?
It's really pronounced Denzel. He had a whole interview. It lit up the whole internet. Yes, Mason.
That his name is actually Denzel.
His name is pronounced Denzel.
Really?
Mason's upset about it too.
I hear. Kevin Wayman said Matthews West, What If? David Johnson said currently new album of Lovekin, Home Called Heaven. I'm going to check it out, David.
Okay.
Secular. Kevin said Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. Okay. Yes, I like that. Kevin also said Abraham Lincoln and FDR. Very presidential. Okay.
Very presidential.
So you got Barack, and who's the other person?
I know. I was.
It's okay.
I'm gonna Maya Angelou.
Okay. Y'all ain't gonna get much eating.
We're not gonna get what?
You're not gonna get much eating done. She's just gonna be talking.
That's okay.
So Chanel and I always talk about when she was on the Oprah, and she kept on saying Oprah. Let's go ahead and take a break before we get in trouble, Crystal. We about to get haunted. Focused on photo, versed in video. For Any Media brings visions to life, from headshots to family shoots, casual candids to structured scenes. Our team can provide whatever you need. In Baltimore, you may have seen us at local events such as the Poly City Tailgate or the Randallstown Romp. You can find us on all social media platforms at the number 4 Any Media. For Any Media, for anything. Contact us so we can create Well, as always, that was fun.
Yes.
What goes up must come down, and it looks like we're done with Headspace with Dr. Mike. Another episode is almost in the can. It was great, as always, to have you in the studio with me, Christy.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for just being a great cheerleader and even encouraging me when I didn't even know I needed to be encouraged. And I want to say that publicly. Many of y'all don't know that to put an endeavor like this together, there's so many times I try to talk myself out of it. And each time I try to talk myself out of it, God sends an angel in the form of one of these awesome people on our team to just encourage me to keep on going. And so I definitely have to give a shout out to you, Christy, while you're here. Definitely want to shout out Chris. I want to shout out Christine. Want to shout out Kim and even Kendra and Darius. And I even want to shout out, well, I have to give the big shout out to Shavella.
Oh yeah.
She is one of them. I'm so blessed to have her as my person. And then always little Mike, and then of course my family and friends, and just all you all, the folk at Elevation. We just thank you. Like, we're not going anywhere, just so you know. But I just, you got to give the flowers while they're up. And this is that moment in my life when I always get reflective because it's almost birthday season. I always got to throw that in there.
Of course.
Birthday time is when I do a lot of introspection and all that stuff. And I'll be honest with y'all, I was really, because of everything I have to do today, I was like, yeah, maybe we won't have the show tomorrow. But I was like, no, we got to have the show tomorrow because we have the show and people are there and you guys are supporting us. So love you all. I want you to have a great weekend, Christy. Mason, take care of mommy. And
he's on a job.
All the blessings that God has for you and then some. Until next time, peace.
Peace.
Thanks for tuning in to Headspace with Dr. Mike. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to follow us on social media at Headspace DM to continue the dialogue with other Headspacers regarding today's show. Everyone is filling their headspace with something. The question is, what are you filling yours with? Tune in next week.